Hello, everyone. I'm Ron Creech, and welcome back to Next Rung Radio, the podcast that helps you step into your power one rung at a time. Today's guest is a true force behind the scenes of some of the biggest names in music. Artists like Katy Perry, Winans, and Natalie Grant, and many more. He's a veteran producer, performer, and a songwriter, with over 30 years in the game. But his journey goes way beyond the music. He's faced some serious personal battles, including walking alongside his wife through cancer, defending his dreams when the odds were stacked against him, and pushing through the industry that doesn't always play fair. Now, as co-founder of CrowdMusic, he's helping rewrite the rules, creating a platform that finally gives the artists and the fans what they really deserve. Man, his story is powerful, inspiring, and full of heart. Please help me welcome to the show my friend, Mr. Dave Browning. Hey, Dave, how you doing, my friend?
Well, thank you for having me. This is a delight. Thank you.
It is amazing, and I'm so excited to have you here. I found out something today that we probably have in common.
Okay.
We have some friends in common.
Okay.
Jesse and Louis King.
Oh, of course. Oh, my heavens. Oh, we go way, way back there. Oh, man, I love them. They're girls, everybody. They're just so awesome.
They're amazing family, man. They've been part of my journey, my walk with Christ, everything.
I love that. Oh, yeah. What great staples of the faith, and having gone through a lot of their own battles,
That's right.
and just amazing to see what their daughters are doing in the next generation. Yeah. And Louis always brings a smile to my face. He is so much fun. I love that guy.
I call him King Louis.
That's right, King Louis. That's him. That's him.
And I always say his wife's going to get an extra crown in heaven.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. I think her eye rolls are probably permanent at this point. You know, it's
exactly right.
He's so awesome.
Yeah, I found that out today, and I was telling my wife about it, and she was like, "Hey, we know those people." And I go, "We do?" And she goes, "Yeah, they're friends with Jesse, because Jesse was down, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, something like that."
That's right.
Yeah, she stayed at our house, and she
unbelievable, unbelievable,
dude. That is so awesome, Dave. I just reading this thing and talking to Manny and all the people. You have such an amazing career, but through all the professional and personal challenges, let's talk about this.
Yeah,
how has your faith helped you keep climbing and moving forward in this industry that you're in?
Yeah, it's very interesting. My faith has probably always been there. My mother was really good about having me in church every Sunday morning, sometimes Sunday nights, every Wednesday night, playing piano for special music at church, all those things, and definitely made a decision for the Lord at age 10. So I had that as a foundation. So I've known my life more with Christ than without.
Yeah.
And, having been through, especially the last 5 years, had Jesus not been available to scream at, cry with, all that, it's, there are days I'm like, I don't know how we made it through, but we did. And the relationship with Christ becomes more and more real when you are pressed hard in those ways. And it's not just a head knowledge, but it becomes a heart relationship at that point. And definitely, I put our friendship with Jesus through the ringer way too much. But knowing that he is a friend who's forgiving of my own sin and downfalls, and still cheers me on a daily basis, I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
It is.
Yeah, it's when you have somebody that no matter what's going on in life, you have the ability. Like I like what you said. You cried with, you argued with, you shouted out at, and then you still was able to maintain it.
He's got big shoulders.
Doesn't he, though? I know I got a big load on most of it for it.
Indeed.
That's one of the things that we talk about here at our podcast. That's why it's called the Next Rung Radio, because it's the next step in the rung. Because I've been in the ladder business for 40 years.
Amazing.
And so we kind of related it to the industry that I've always been in, and. But some of the faith to go to the next rung in life is always challenging.
It is
always challenging. And CrowdMusic was a really bold move, from what I understand.
Yes.
So, what made you believe that there was a better way for the artist? And so this is a key question. How did you use your imagination to help start building it and for the artist itself?
Well, I think it stems back to realizing that there's a need. You know, most great business people will say, find the problem, come up with a solution, and the people will follow.
Yeah.
And I really feel that the moment in the late 90s when the MP3 format came out, all of a sudden you could share a song with your friends through the internet.
That's right.
And file sizes were small enough. It was easy to do with high-speed internet and all that. And all of a sudden you have kids who are like, I've got 4,000 songs in my collection. Oh, that's nothing. I got 50,000 in mine.
Yeah.
And they weren't buying music. So all of a sudden, you know, streaming comes about to fix the problem. And all it did was just basically legalize piracy. And even this week, I'm reading articles where our own Congressperson, Marsha Blackburn, and a Democratic representative are working together to get to the bottom of some dealings with Spotify and how they are playing the system to pay, again, less than what they are required by law to pay songwriters, publishers, all creatives that are on their platform. And it just comes down to the game that they play, where it's like, we're going to exploit somebody who has created a product, make our money off of it, pay them as little as possible, and find ways to lawyer up to get away with it at every turn.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, my business partner, co-founder, Mike Castronovo, who you need to meet, a fantastic gentleman. And he came at looking at the music industry through the eyes of a business person rather than a creative. And I will fully admit, most creatives are not smart business people. We know enough to write a check for the water bill at the end of the month, and that's about it. You know, make sure we have enough for a burger on the road or something. But he came in this as an investment banker, somebody who's in wealth management, somebody who was on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange trading euros and yen and all these different things. So he knows numbers the way I know notes.
Right.
And so his daughter was pursuing music at Belmont. He looked at how artists and creators were getting paid one day. He's like, something's not right. Something's not added up. He felt like the Lord gave him a great business plan, wrote it down, didn't sleep for 36 hours, wrote it all out. He said, this makes sense. Why is nobody doing this? Double checked it, talked to me, couldn't believe it. It's exactly kind of what I was feeling needed to happen. And there were even small little parts of the idea that I was like, oh my heavens, that's something I wondered about. You've come in with a grandiose picture. I had little tidbits of like, what if this and this? And here it is, you know, and it really is a game changer. But, you know, the Lord's timing sometimes is very frustrating and confusing. Why didn't this come out 8 years ago? Why didn't it come out 5 years ago? Why didn't it come out 6 months ago? But the brilliant thing about it is the longer we wait and the longer we have to continue to refine and all that, the industry gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So the need for us has grown exponentially. So whether it's another 6 months, whether it's another 6 years, if we'll be patient, much the way Moses was in the Bible when God called him, or, you know, I don't see God doing things very immediately without a long wait. And so I feel like when this finally happens, it's not only going to change the music industry, it may change how the economy of business is done throughout the world. And it favors every single person involved. That's the beautiful thing. You take greed out of the picture, pay everybody fairly, compensate those who are helping out along the way. Everybody's happy, everybody's making a great living, and you don't have people who are exploiting others for their own gain. So that's the premise behind it.
Man, that's incredible. I think Mike's going to be on our show tomorrow.
He will let you have it. It's going to be amazing. You know, when you hear what Crowd is up to and what it's about, it's a game changer. It really, really is. And it's not hard. It's a matter of just taking greed out of the picture, not trying to be a business that builds itself up for a resale 3 to 5 years from now, and you run off to your private island with your billions while everybody else is left holding the bag. So that's the premise behind it.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear the rest of the story, man. That's going to be incredible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you know what you said, you got so much going on. You got family health problems. We got battles with, career demands and a little bit of legal stress, what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you find the inner strength? This is important to keep going with your life when it feels heavy.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I'm a firm believer now, coming on the other side of a lot of those things, but still walking through a lot as well, that, I feel like the Lord sometimes kicks us out of the nest, and we either fly or we fall to our death.
Amen.
And it's one foot in front of the other. And so a lot of this season of life started in February 21. My dad unexpectedly, very quickly died of cancer in 2 months' time. So, okay, have dealt with that. That's great. In the meantime, my oldest son, Elijah, started his early success on this TV show called American Ninja Warrior.
What? Where they do the...
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Yes, he's on his 5th season, about to film his 6th season. As a matter of fact, they flew out yesterday to Portugal.
Yeah.
He's on kind of like Team America. They're going to make it an Olympic sport. So he's over competing there this week and stuff. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So with that in mind, we have a obstacle course built in our backyard that he trains on and all this. Everybody in the neighborhood loves it and all that. One of the neighbors, I think, realizes Elijah's having success, which they coincide with money, which they're like, oh, wait, how can we get some of this? And all of a sudden we have a lawsuit facing us.
Oh my God.
Unexpected, tear it down or pay us X amount of money and all that. So for 2 years, we're battling, not because we want to, but just out of self-preservation of like, this has been going on 8 years. Nothing has changed. Why all of a sudden this?
Yeah.
And all you can do is defend yourself. And so this is going on. In the middle of it, my wife has breast cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So now I'm throwing money at lawyers. Now I'm throwing money at medical bills and trying to help her out. Renee's mother-in-law has moved in with us and started her own thyroid cancer battle. And so you're feeling, all of a sudden I'm feeling the weight of the world here of not only trying to be the breadwinner of the family, but now trying to deal with legal battles, trying to deal with health issues, trying to help, Renee with Elijah because of his successes and traveling all over the world and all this. And then still trying to feed our other 2 kids, get them to school, activities, keep life as normal as possible for them. Wow. And it was overwhelming. And there were many times I'm like, Lord, I think I'm done. I can't take another bit. And then there'd be just another hit, another hit, another hit. The crazy thing is, once the dust kind of settled about 1.5 years ago, you kind of start to realize, wow, we made it through with the Lord's help. We're on the other side of this. And then all of a sudden, the battles that used to really cause us a lot of stress, all of a sudden really weren't battles. They were just little kind of whiff moments of like, oh, okay, the refrigerator went out. Okay, we got to get a new fridge. Who cares? It's not like, hey, we're throwing $40,000 at a lawyer and $60,000 in a medical bill, and this person's dying and this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, those little problems aren't problems. Right. It's the small stuff, and we don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing how we grow in our character.
Yes,
probably like you 10 years ago, if the refrigerator went out, that just messed my day up.
Yes.
Now then, if the refrigerator goes out, you're like, all right, call somebody.
You figure it out.
Get it fixed. I don't care. What do you got to do? Because I got major issues going on.
That's right. That's right.
My wife went through the same thing as your wife. My wife had breast cancer the same way. And, it's one of those things that you're sitting there and the oncologist tells you this story, and then all of a sudden it goes quiet.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, what do you say?
Yeah.
I have another friend, very dear friend, who a month ago, he's 47, going through cancer for his 4th time. Yes. And we had a phone call, and he's like, I don't know whether to go down this road again or just call it a day.
Yeah.
And he said, I mean, those are heavy conversations.
Yes,
this isn't just like, oh man, I'm sorry you can't make it out for dinner tonight. I mean, we're talking, you're deciding whether you're choosing to live and give it all you got, or just say, I'm going to ride off into the sunset with what I have here and set up my kids and wife for the rest of their days. And I mean, until you face some of those life instances like that, I mean, this is where the Lord stretches us beyond what we think we can handle. But it's much like a weightlifter. After you've done bench press and it's hurt for a while and all that, all of a sudden you're stronger. And what was hard in the beginning is super easy now. So I feel like that's kind of the way those circumstances present. Maybe this is precursor for some of the stress levels we'll go through with CrowdMusic, or preparing for something else we'll have to deal with down the road. I don't know, but we'll know when we get there.
That's right.
And so as much as I hate to have gone through those things and had family and friends go through all that, I'm grateful for the mindset and the faith that has come with that on the other side of it.
Amen. I actually had a guest yesterday. He was a young man that was battling leukemia, right?
Oh, man.
So his story was the same about my friend David Staten. He just battled cancer, and his quote was a young man's yesterday, and David's same thing: life and death is in the power of the tongue.
It is. Absolutely.
So the way they saw things, and then they started changing the way they spoke about things.
That's right.
Changed their life. Yeah.
It's true. You can sit and wallow in it. It doesn't change it. So you might as well figure out how to take that next step forward. And it doesn't have to be big, giant steps or big, long leaps. Just move an inch, anything that's forward, and eventually you get to the destination, you get to the other side.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, I saw these great names on the teleprompter here that you've been around. Tell me something about the industry, man.
Yeah, when I first moved to town in 1995, so I've lived here longer than anywhere else at this point.
Where you originally from?
Originally from Missouri. Grew up as a farm kid around pigs and cows and corn and all that stuff, and am very grateful not to be doing that anymore. I'm appreciative of the upbringing.
That's right, man.
I do not want to participate any further. But I'm grateful because it taught me to work hard as a young kid.
Oh, yeah.
When my boys, we joke about like, boy, you all didn't have it as hard as I did. And they're like, oh, mowing the lawn and this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, 6 years old. I was on a tractor out plowing a field. I don't want to hear it. Get out there, So I'm grateful for that. I had a mother who by age 5 had me in piano lessons, saw that there was something there, and, did that and attempted to go to college, and be a music major and all that. But my heart was really more into keyboards and synthesizers and music business and all these things. And so in 95, I got called to do my first Christian tour with an artist named Al Denson at the time, and did my first 100 shows with him and learned a ton. It was amazing. So grateful for that time with him. And then that led to working as a keyboard player for Lisa Bevel on the road. And then Greg Long, who's now part of Avalon, and I've been their music director since 2008. So done that, and then was out with Natalie Grant. And then along the way, producing a lot, and found myself in LA working with the hit songwriter Diane Warren, doing her demos. And then I'd fly from LA to New York to do writers camps for Sony for Celine Dion's next record or Jennifer Lopez's next record and all this. And I was thinking pretty good of myself, oh, I'm important now and all that.
I'm the man.
And then I really feel like the Lord said, oh, okay, I did something with Nebuchadnezzar years ago and put him out to pasture a while. How would you like some of that? So I felt like the Lord at that point just kind of humbled me a little bit and brought me down where I wasn't the flavor of the month at that point, and kind of struggled with why isn't anybody hiring me as much and all that. And kind of in the middle there, started working with a young girl named Katy Hudson, who was this young 15, 16-year-old girl. Did a Christian project on her. It didn't really fly, but continued to do some writing and stuff. She moved to LA, and then as we know, she turned into this girl named Katy Perry.
Oh, yeah.
And so Katy went on and has become quite successful and done her thing, but still have a great relationship with her. When she's in town, we all get together and hash out the old times and when I would take her fishing and all these things. So, great fun. But, each one of those experiences has been a different level of growth, whether it was causing me to be empathetic with where they came from and where they grew up, or pressing me to be a better player or producer, or just learning the craft, learning the bad side of the music industry and how to avoid or pivot on those things. Again, I feel like if we keep our eyes and ears open, there's so much to be learned with each and every instance, good or bad, that you're going through, and especially in the music industry. I just feel like there are times it's marvelous, and there's times it's not a small little fire, it's a dumpster fire, And so you kind of just have to learn how to maneuver through all of it,
Yeah. So what's not the secret, what's the key? I mean, we've been on the corner here at Nolensville Road and 440 for 40 years next year. And when we first got started in the ladder industry, we would set up a, guitar and a banjo and a mandolin in the corner. And when I first came up here, my uncle actually started the company. When I would come up here to visit or help him work, man, these guys would come in with paint all over their hands and been out doing siding or whatever they done. They could sit down and make your heart melt and cry on a guitar and singing. And I'm like, you don't even have any mixers or nothing.
Yeah.
How come this dude is not the man?
Yeah. This town, we always joke that the person who's waiting at your table is probably a better songwriter or singer than you are. And there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
I think for my modest successes, what I found that worked is I'm a good player.
Mm-hmm.
There's many much better players in this town, but I really try to be accommodating with the artist as much as possible, easy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do my homework ahead of time as much as I can, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that there are people who are more talented in this town, but harder to work with.
Yeah.
And the person who is easier to hang with and be around, who might not be as talented, tends to work a whole lot more. So I had a friend call and, very big keyboard player, producer in town, plays with some of the greatest stars of our generation.
Wow. Yeah.
And he said, I have a gig I can't do. I want you to do it. So I didn't have to audition or anything. It's just word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, basically, the prerequisite of the whole thing is it's an easy hang.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be, don't go in and be a bull in the China shop and all that. You come in, the parts are easy. Just play your parts, but be an easy hang. Everybody wants to hang out and have fun and be able to have great conversations and all that. And I'm like, okay, that's that. It's almost like when you're on the road, you're married to like 8 or 9, 10 other people.
Yes.
And if everybody can get along, it makes those tour dates easy. If you're 3 or 4 days in and you're hating somebody on a 3-week run, the remaining 2.5 weeks are very difficult. So I think that is what causes people to win. Also, like many other things in life, but probably times 10, you've got to be willing to devote so much time to your craft and the relationships and things like that. Like a ladder business, you don't just go in and be like, I'm your ladder guy. And you're taking people to dinner. You're building relationships. You're building that trust. That has to happen. But sometimes somebody will call at 9 at night and like, hey, we've got to get this service to radio by 10 a.m. tomorrow. Can you pull an all-nighter? I hate to do that to you. And you're like, yeah, we're going to make this happen. This will be great. When you're accommodating like that, they'll call you again and again and again. Yes. If you're like, no, I can't do it, you'll never get called, and your buddy up the street will. Yeah. So you always, as much as you possibly can, be accommodating, be friendly, have your talents down. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be good at what you do and deliver. And that's how I've found my successes,
Man, that's great, But true, after everything you've experienced and the wins and the setbacks and the lessons, what does legacy mean to you now? And what is the next rung on your step on your ladder to go to in life? So leave your legacy, and what's maybe next?
It's funny. I think had you asked me this 10 years ago, it would be a different story. It'd be like, oh, great artist, a great songwriter, somebody who's, well-known, award-winning, this, that, and the other. And I think now, having gone through what I have, it comes down to more about the relationships and sewing into people as opposed to, the accolades you have hanging on the wall or whatever. I'm trying great example. I had to go play a show in Paris about a month ago. Took my middle kid, 15 years old. He loves Lego. I mean, this kid, you would think most kids grow out of it 9, 10. This kid is all about it. I mean, he knows, like people collect sports cars or baseball cards or whatever it is. Yeah. This kid can tell you what kit was built with what figures and the value of this, that, and the other. Wow. But on this run, it's a second edition, and that's more valuable than the first because of this. That's so incredible. Anyway, took him with me. Yeah. And the whole premise was he got to dictate the terms of the trip. Hey. He didn't know this. Yeah. So when we got there, and he's like, well, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know. What are we doing? And he kind of looked at me, dumbfounded. Yeah. But I was like, you get to tell us what we do. And so for the next day and a half, it was all Lego and all that. And the first night he looked at me and he's like, I don't know that I've ever had a better day in my life. Oh, and I was like, oh my goodness, this works, yes. And so by another half day of doing that, he's like, I'm kind of just done. I don't know what else to do. I was like, let's get on a subway. Yeah. No idea where we're going. Let's just go somewhere, And so we did all this and stuff. So I feel like if we can get out of the way of ourselves and our own desires and egos and all that, and just let others feel like they're the most important thing in the moment. Right. You're sewing into them in a way that so many others miss. Mm-hmm. And I feel like our relationships with others can be so much stronger, just by allowing others to kind of dictate the terms, so to speak. And so I think my legacy is to have everybody feel loved in ways that they've never felt loved by anybody else, and allow them to have memories that outweigh the things that we got for them or the things we gave to them or whatever it was, or the awards. Mm-hmm. I just feel like if we can make them have memories that just still to the end of their life, they're like, wow, I just can't believe that happened. Yeah. I think that's the legacy to leave.
Man, that's incredible. We always talk about this in our families and everything else is that, what you give them, they appreciate. Right. But when they're, our age, they talk about, you remember the time we went fishing?
That's
remember
right.
The time we went
That's
camping?
Right.
I remember the time we went to Paris and we went to
That's
Lego.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. It's funny. It's just like yours with my youngest kid. When they turned 16, she wanted to go to New York. New York was her thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, Manny. So then we went to New York and we let her do the whole trip.
Yes.
So we let her do the subway stuff, where we was going, where we were eating, who was going to see. One of her friends was at the Manhattan School of Music, I believe.
Yes.
So we were trying to get to that thing. This is crazy, man.
Love it.
So I told my daughter, I go, hey, book it out. Let's go see your friend. We're going this and that and other. So we get there. It's probably 7:30 at night, maybe. So we get on this subway. We go to another subway. And we get on another subway. And we're walking out to go up the stairs. And there's like 3 cops sitting there. And this cop looks at me and like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing, dude? And you see this right here? You can see this everywhere.
Yeah.
So we walk up and we're in Harlem. We had no idea where we were going. No idea what was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, everything was great, but it was I'll never forget the look on the
fish out of water.
Yeah.
Totally get that. Yeah. Oh, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so much fun. We went to this little small Italian restaurant. It was like, it wasn't much bigger than this room.
Right.
Oh, the food was amazing.
Exactly.
It was
those are memories forever.
That's right.
And they'll remember aspects of that trip that we never will. We'll be like, oh, we did that. Oh, cool. You know? So
isn't that great?
It's true.
I know. I love the emotional sync that sticks.
Yes, that's right.
And you figure out kind of in life who people really are by what the things that they bring up in their life.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
So let's go back to, we ain't got but a few more minutes, but the
Yeah.
piano, did you start off with a thing like I did? Ding.
Oh yeah. You start. I see that first piano book, bright orange, Leela Fletcher, book one, and I can see it plain as day, you know, and I just worked through that, went to the second book, which was green, and I mean, they are just, just totally branded in my mind, and like everything else in life, you have the phase when it's not fun.
Right.
It's like, well, I want to be playing like this. Well, you can't. You have to go through the method to get to that point, and then it becomes fun.
That's right.
So now when I go out and play, it's like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't cool in the first few years, but you had to go through that to get where you're at today. So
I remember my first piano lesson. Miss Kathy was her name.
Oh, I love it.
Man, we'd walk in and sit down, and it was like you just said, ding.
Yes. So I had Miss Rita, and she was fantastic because we would do a 30-minute lesson. We'd do 20 minutes of playing, and the last 10 minutes was music theory.
Yeah.
So she would have these sheets, and I would have to learn. So when all of a sudden, when I got to high school and college, and everybody was failing theory, I was just like, I'm done, man. I'm out the door, and they're sitting there scratching their heads trying to figure it out. So I'm so grateful for my piano teacher, and she gave me 8 phenomenal years that I wouldn't realize the relevancy of that until much later in life. But so grateful for that.
Yeah, I love that. I look back on my life now and pick out 4 or 5 people that really had a transformation of changing my direction where I was going. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I again, Al, the first guy I toured with, has become a unbelievable businessman in so many different areas. And watching him take a Christian tour and treat it like a business. Again, most musicians, we attempt to make money at this, but we never really look at ourselves as a business. And he did. And so for me, that was a profound business lesson. Rita teaching me music things along the way. That was very profound. My high school music teacher, Mr. Gene, he was just unbelievable as far as giving me opportunities that he wasn't giving all the other kids. And same with my college counselor, Dr. Tom, who took me to my first NAMM show in LA in the 90s and all that stuff. And no other teachers were doing these little extra steps. So I feel like if we go just the extra mile, if you're getting a hamburger at a restaurant and you look at the person after they get your order, how's your day been?
Yeah.
Man, you just open them up. That's all you got to do. One extra little step in a day that costs you nothing other than a few words. You're changing somebody's life.
Amen.
And again, I feel like getting back to Christianity, so often we want to beat people over the head with the gospel instead of just loving through a couple of words. Or, had a lady the other day who looked lost, couldn't find a Walgreens. So I spent 15 seconds with her, just pointing to it on a map, and you could tell she was at ease. I could have walked on by, but she needed that. And those little things add up and change not only the way you choose to choose life, but how they help others. And then in turn, they're helping others. And it's a great thing.
That's the gift behind it. So what did you get out of it when you helped that woman? I was at a place over on Cool Springs Boulevard the other day going to lunch, and this elderly lady pulled up, and she looked a little lost. And so I just went over to her car. I don't even know why. Asked her, could I help her? She goes, yeah. So I took her out, walked her in the restaurant, helped her order her food, and helped her get in the car, and she drove away.
Amazing.
And when I got home, I told my wife, I go, this has been an amazing day.
Yes. The joy it brings by helping others.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it costs us nothing.
It costs you nothing.
Nope.
So we always talk about leaving them feeling better.
That's right.
Than when you came along.
That's right.
I think if we could just get people to do that,
that's right,
the world would change.
Absolutely.
The world would change.
And that's the gospel in action.
That's
right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not beating them over the head with Jesus. Let your actions speak louder than words. Let them question why you would do something like that out of kindness. And that opens the door. You know, the seed is planted.
That's right, dude. I'm telling you, I love that, Dave. I love it. That's awesome. And we're about to wrap this thing up. Any words of wisdom you want to?
Avoid the music industry? No, I'm joking. No, you know what? I think we've touched on all of that. It really is living outside of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we all have our goals. We have our desires of what we want to accomplish in life. And all of that is fantastic. But don't forget the people who also are trying to do the same things in your life. I cheer on my opponents. I have a producer friend. He and I almost have mirror images of careers. We laugh about it all the time. It's like, he'll call and be like, I bet you're telling me you just got a hit song. How'd you know that? Because I got one too, the same day, you know? So, but instead of being jealous of someone else's successes, cheer them on, celebrate them. They'll do the same for you. You end up helping each other out. I think if we'll get past our own insecurities and cheer others on, help other people out more, take the time to invest in others, it comes back tenfold, 100-fold to us in ways that we won't realize until after it's happened.
Man, that is so awesome. Great words to end this thing with. We want to end this thing with, remember this, guys, life is like a ladder. We help you step into your power one rung at a time. See you next time.